Well, oh shit. Fuck. We're new. We're like, feel like we're back. Yeah.
Don't edit that. That was great.
Okay, ready? Oh my God.
Are you okay?
No.
Is everything all right?
No. 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 The answer's
my
no.
God.
Okay, ready?
Hello and welcome back to the Weird and Proud Podcast.
It's Sam.
I'm genuinely concerned about you right now. I'm genuinely concerned about your well-being.
Seriously, well, we just like cried our eyes out for like an hour.
True.
And oh my God. Anyways, we'll get to that. Hi, everyone. Wait, you didn't even say and James. Did you hear that? That was actually good.
Great harmony.
James.
I couldn't even tell it wasn't me. I thought I had said it again.
I know. I'm a multi-hyphenate performer. What can I say? Hi, everyone. We're back. Better than ever. Never been better. No, we're doing great. We're doing great. Finally, the jet lag is getting much better, I will say. Finally,
Absolutely.
Not waking up every morning at 4 a.m. So we're doing a bit on that front. You know, our cat's still dead. We've still been crying over her, but
big cry
our
session
child
today.
is dead. Yeah, we just got done with a pet psychic reading. And we haven't even talked. We literally got off the call and I was like, all right, I need to like wipe away my tears and then we'll record the podcast and we'll talk about it. So we'll talk about our pet psychic. Also, I will fill in a couple last questions on Italy. I know everyone's was giving me so much shit that, you know, I didn't barely give you guys any tea or drama. I'll give you a little bit more. Okay. But I just, I'm so scared of getting sued. Like, I can't even tell you. Then we have a great episode. We're back to talking about weird shit. We have our dogs are barking in the background. Hopefully you can't hear that. But we have kind of like some crazy update in Connecticut that so many of you guys have been sending this to me. And this happened like 40 minutes from where we live, where a 32-year-old man was locked in his attic for 20 years, which James had never even heard of.
How long? 20 years? Not like 20 minutes and he got a little scared?
No, 20 years, James. And then we also are going to talk a little bit about St. Patrick's Day. I have some weird things to tell you guys about St. Patrick's Day that I bet you never, ever knew.
How were you locked in an attic for 20 years?
We'll get to it, James. We will get to it. And then, of course, we have Weird Science Corner with James. Another thing we just like need to put on our list of things to worry about. But not really. I don't feel like we don't really need to worry about it. Maybe. And then we have Weird Secrets. Of course, we're back to Weird Secrets. We have so many. So, you know, I know we have a backlog. So we're getting through them. But we're back. And as a reminder, this episode is coming out on Monday. So, you know, some of you may miss this, but we are hitting the road later this week.
Hitting the road.
We're seeing some of our Midwest folk. We're going to Pittsburgh, Detroit, and Chicago. So, you know, if you're still early enough to get tickets, go to SamanthaRamsdale.com/events. Also, though, if you're in Greenville, South Carolina, or Dallas, Texas, we're coming in April. So check again, SamanthaRamsdale.com/events for tickets. More to come soon as we figure out what the summer is going to bring us, what's going on. Which now that we can get into things.
I got to hear about this guy.
No, James. We got to talk about the pet psychic. I know I teased it too hard. I teased too close to the sun. Just know there's a man locked in the attic and we're going to talk about it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, in Connecticut, like 40 minutes from us.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, we just got done talking to a pet psychic. And James, your toenails are so long. You guys, can you just show? Sorry, my ADD just kicked in. James has no shoes on. You guys make fun of me for how long my toenails are. If you guys saw James' toenails,
they aren't that bad.
You would actually cancel him. Like, I feel like you would be like, put this man in jail. You guys would throw up. They're so long. I want you to see them, but you shouldn't. Those are knives. You have daggers on your feet. That is a weapon. You should
I
literally
go
be
barefoot
locked
a
up.
lot.
You should
I
be
have
locked up
long,
in jail.
long-ish toenails. They're not that bad.
They're bad.
That isn't that bad to
They're
me.
really bad.
See, that
I should
isn't
have
that
brought you to
bad
get my
me.
pedicure with me on Friday. What
Oh,
was I
that would have been
thinking?
fun.
No, I wouldn't want to put those poor people. Only they can only handle one of us
It's
in
like
a
the
day.
scene out of Dumb and Dumber
Yeah,
where they're grinding down the toes.
literally.
Yeah.
Seriously, James.
Do you want me to go put socks on?
No,
Because there's
no,
holes
no,
in the
no,
socks.
no,
Then
no,
you can
no,
make fun of
no, no. Yeah, I know. Seriously, seriously, it never
It's a
ends.
no-win for me.
Oh my God, sorry, you guys. I just saw his toes, and you just needed to know that. You just needed to know that if you think my toes are bad, you don't even know. You haven't even seen bad. Anyways, pet psychic. Sorry. So one of our friends from Italy, funny enough, she has a neighbor that is a pet psychic, and I talked about how I would wanted to do it, but they were just all like around here so expensive. And she was like, "Oh my God, my neighbor does it. She'll do it virtually." So I brought up to James, I was like, "Would you want to listen in?" Like thinking like he'd be like, "No," because he doesn't, you guys know how he is about this stuff. But he listened in, and I think you were moved by it too.
I was absolutely moved.
And it was pretty cool. With any of this stuff, there's always going to be the question of, it's like, okay, I feel like there's always going to be like, is this, especially too, I don't know what it is like over the phone, where it is like, how do you really do it over the phone? But I guess if it's energy, if they can, they can read energy anywhere.
I mean, you believe in wormholes, right? Like in the universe, meaning
Yeah.
you can exist in two places at
Right.
the same time.
Yeah.
If you believe in that,
Right.
why wouldn't
I guess. So she basically just talked a lot about, of course, we haven't talked too much about it, but kind of the guilt and shame that comes along. That's been one of the things that's been, really kind of eating at me, is the whole thought around having to put her down, and was she ready? Was it the time? And, was she in pain and all that kind of stuff, which is just nice to be reassured, whether it was real or not. It's like, it's just nice to hear, and be reminded of those type of things, that like she, was more than ready. And
I've been more than vocal about the science behind such things, right?
Yep.
But I also really believe in, there are people out there that do just want to help people heal through something a little bit.
Totally.
And this person was absolutely genuine with it. Was fabulous.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Right?
It was almost kind of like a therapy session almost.
And that's
the same
whether it doesn't matter what I believe in or what's been shown, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to get real nerdy about it, you'd be like, well, the majority of people doing this are doing it for a buck, but there's a bunch of people that aren't, right?
Totally.
And she's one of them. And
Yeah.
she was fabulous. And it was definitely a good therapeutic session.
Yeah.
And no matter what, I'm not going to, as you like to say, I'm not going to yuck somebody's yum.
Mhm.
Whatever version of therapy you go through for something like this, doesn't matter. If it helps, it helps. And that's all that matters.
Right. Totally. Yeah. And it was, it's just therapeutic to talk through it. And, of course, just be kind of reassured of the things that we were both worried about. And it's just, nice to know and have these reminders, like, like we always say, like, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It has to, live somewhere. And, of course, I do believe in spirits, and being able to, of course, have energy pass on even after you say goodbye. So, and I've even, like, some nights, like, when we were talking with this woman, where I was like, I have woken up, and whether it's like my own head or my, of me, like, kind of dreaming or, wishful thinking, but have, like, felt like I've seen her.
Yeah.
And it's really, and that's almost kind of like more of a mind fuck too, because then you like kind of do a double take, and it's like, oh no,
I still
of course
think
she's not
Seraphina is her sometimes when I'm cooking.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know. Yeah. So I know, I was curious what you were thinking, and
listen. I mean, I tried to take the good from it. I wasn't going to go in there. I followed my old Ted
of course,
Lasso.
you're not going to go in there and be like,
I followed my Ted Lasso. Well, you got to be in your space, right?
Yeah.
Who am I to think differently when that person is there to genuinely help, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the quotes I thought about was, she said she was getting a lot of love and grief stuff. And there's the quote that I've said, but I should probably say more, is grief is simply love with no place to go.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And that's really
Yep.
what we're both going through,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
like it isn't there.
I know.
Yeah, it's tough.
You're gonna cry.
Yeah, I am a little bit. I love that cat.
If I know she was the best cat. Like, I don't even think you guys know. And obviously we love all of our animals, but Kiara, like, she was really, really, really special. And yeah, it's just weird. It still is so weird. Like, and I know it's a cat, but for us, like like our animals are our kids.
Everyone else is allowed to say it's just a cat, but to us, we know what it was.
Yeah.
I don't care what other people
I know, and
think.
that was one of the things too. You know that
I don't care what other people think.
the
There was a time in my life where I was ego enough that I might have been like, well, it's just a cat, right?
right.
Because I did have animals die when I was younger, but it was different because they died of natural causes, and I was in a different place, and I was like away to college for some of it.
Yeah.
And so it was different,
Totally.
right? Even though
Well, that's what I had cats,
Yeah.
you know, that had
We had-
passed when we were young, but it's
Yeah.
just, it was different. It was like a family cat. And like, we had Kiara, like, is just, it was a very, very special bond.
Yeah.
And she was just a really special cat. There was something about that cat, I tell you, like, because she died like 17 times and like she kept like coming back to life and having all these miracle like rebirths. It was
But
like
you
this cat seriously is like like baby
like
Jesus.
you too, but she was much more, and part of it, look, we love all our animals, but she was just so affectionate, especially with
So
you.
affectionate.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this cat was our shadow. She was like literally. Anyways, we won't get too much into that because that can go
Yeah, I
down.
almost lost it again.
I know it like doesn't take much with her. It's still very new, and especially too when we were having that Italy trip, it like took us out of it.
But when you come
You know,
back,
and then
you
we
were
came back
right back into it.
right, you know, so it was tough the first couple days back, but which speaking of, okay, just to like fill you guys in because everyone was like
Transitioning.
yeah, to the drama. Which like again, luckily it wasn't like too big of an issue because this one she was being a negative Nancy, okay? And there were again, like I told the story, there were two single people and she was one of them that was just like negative about everything. She had been to Italy before and like had, you know, like ties. So everything about the schedule was like, why are we doing this? But why don't we do this? Why don't we? And it was like I've literally been working on this itinerary for 8 months and I've sent it out multiple times.
But everyone, sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah.
it was pretty simple. Everyone else there knew their role.
Well, right. As like go with the flow. Like it's
Go with the flow.
everything's you have to like
This isn't planned. This isn't like we're gonna wake up at 7 a.m. and do 50 different things, right? And
Right.
it isn't we have some loose, you had some wonderful loose set plans for each day, but
subject to change.
but it's subject to change, but not like go to a different city or some of the things she was
Right.
proposing.
Right.
And when I say know your role, that was maybe aggressive. I'll use the old Bill Belichick, do your job, which is kind of the same as know what
Right.
you're supposed to do.
Right. But
she was
even
like
that,
trying to take over the trip.
Yeah, it was mostly like trying to take it over. And you know, at the end of the day, like she got a car and did her own thing. And it was like, okay, fine. Like I don't like I like and that was an option. Like if someone wants to come just to stay at the villa and then go like stay at the villa all day or go do whatever, totally fine. Like so that's why like it wasn't really that big of a deal. But it was more of and she just it was kind of like a read the room type of scenario too, especially
very much that.
You know, especially with just like all the political climate that we're in, you know, she was just very loudly anti-vax, very loudly, and it was, you know, like telling about deporting people, and it was like, okay, let's not. Okay.
What you said is the more important part is she could not read the vibe.
Could not read the vibe, read the room. But everyone else was amazing. Everyone, you know, like it was this kind of trip where it's like you're gonna have to give up kind of control. Like it's kind of go with the flow. This is the loose itinerary. And again, I had said from the beginning too, it's like I am not the type where it's like we're getting up at 6 a.m., leaving the house, you know, leaving by 7, out all day, like back to back to back to back until 9 o'clock at night. It was like, I want to like sleep in a little bit, have breakfast from 8:30 to 9:30, and then we start the day at like 10 or 11, you know? Like I'm not ready to like hit the ground running at 7 a.m. And it's like it's a vacation. Like I want to be able to chill. And that, especially in Italy. Like in Italy, everything takes forever. So it's like You want to go out to lunch? That takes 2.5 hours, especially
Yep.
with a big group of people. You want to go to dinner? That like most dinners were 3.5 hours
Yep.
at least. So even breakfast in the morning is like an hour. So it's just, you kind of just gotta like let go and let God. And she just wanted to do her own thing. And so whatever. That's fine. And that's why I was like, okay, fine. So she did. And then that was that. So that's why like, there wasn't like any big blowout fights or like big, blow up. Like it was just she wanted to do her thing. It was like, okay, great. Have fun. So that's really all there was to that. But I think that's
Can we talk about the guy in the attic?
okay. Yeah. Transitioning. Now let's talk about the guy in the attic. Okay, so I can't believe you haven't heard about this. This happened in Waterbury, Connecticut.
It happened in Waterbury?
It just happened. So basically, this was actually, I think technically it was at the end of February. A fire broke out at this home in Waterbury, Connecticut. And first responders showed up. The house was had started in the upper levels of the home. And there was a stepmom who's in the house, 2 daughters, and then the 32-year-old stepson. So apparently this guy's father had married this woman, but he had passed away, the father, about a year ago.
Okay.
So apparently, this is going to go to trial. This is, kind of preliminary, press of like what's been going on. But this kid, I don't even think they released his name. Yeah, his name hasn't even been released. When he was 11 years old, his stepmom had it out for him and had him locked upstairs, in their attic for 20 years.
Oh my God.
His father had died. Let me see when it was that he actually did pass away. I think it was either last year or a couple of years ago. His father ended up passing away, which they didn't say how he passed away. But the stepmother, who's 56, her name's Kimberly Sullivan, she was arrested. She was arrested with and charged with assault, kidnapping, unlawful restraint, cruelty, and reckless endangerment. And the police officers who went to the scene said it was the worst thing they've ever seen.
Oh my God.
And this is the craziest case they've ever seen in Connecticut. A case like this in Connecticut or ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, he basically, to try and get out the kid, he's not a kid anymore. He's an adult, a 30-year-old. He lit the fire.
11 or 12. Smart. Why didn't you do that?
To try.
Yeah.
He didn't have anything. So he lit a fire with hand sanitizer and paper that he stole from a printer. And he lit the fire. I don't even know how the fuck, he must, again, it's when you don't have anything to light a fire with.
Some sticks together.
He's rubbing
or
sticks.
Spark something.
And I think it's with hand sanitizer, it has enough
alcohol
in it that it just would set ablaze. So, basically the police were he lit that fire, knowing that he could die, but he'd rather be,
wow. Holy wow.
Yeah. And especially I think once his dad passed, then he was now I'm really screwed. So now I'm really never getting out.
But the fact that his dad left him
and that's the thing.
long.
And that's, so again, this happened not too long ago. The 2 daughters, the 2 daughters of the stepmom who lived there are also under arrest and under questioning. Cause it's if you knew.
How old were they?
They didn't say, but around the same age. They're
adults too.
Adults.
Okay, so an aiding and abetting sort of thing.
Right. And obviously the mom's under arrest. But he's 5. I think he was 5'9", 5'10". He weighed 68 pounds.
Oh my God.
Isn't that insane? So he's literally skin and bones. Yeah, so one of the craziest cases they've ever seen. And it's not too far from us. So everyone, of course, had been sending this to me because it was, happened in this Waterbury is not a nice town, but the nicest town in Connecticut, but it's this smaller
it's big-ish.
But still it's a nice, it's not known to be dangerous or crazy. You know, I don't know. It's just crazy. You just never know. And that's always too, like what ends up being kind of the commentary around it is it's like, just to like be a neighbor or like to, you know, or like just if you knew her or like knew the family and you just, how
Did the
do
kid
you not know? Like,
the kid just stopped going to school and the school didn't say
so
anything?
she said she was homeschooling him.
Okay.
They took him out of school when he was 11 and said they're going to be homeschooling. And
Then from there,
there, no one went. Apparently, the other family, like the father's family, had called Child Protective Services multiple times, and apparently, like Child Protective Services would just show up at the door, and like they never got past the woman. She would always like make up an excuse, and they never like pushed past that.
I want to hear what that.
Yeah.
The other, because one, how much under this woman's. I hate to blame her. Like this could be wrong. The father could have been just as much involved.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know. So
but
I'm
obviously
not
he
say,
had to have been if he still like he was locked up there. So obviously he had to have been, you know, he had to have known.
Yeah. So he's obviously involved too.
Right.
And then I wonder why the death of his father was one of the catalysts for this. Because he obviously wasn't getting out with his dad there either.
Right.
Is that
but
long?
maybe like, you know, he was able to, you know, manipulate him enough to be like, you know, if you keep doing this, or
we'll
if
let
you
out.
know, eventually we'll let you out, you know, or something. And then he was like, well, now I really know.
I want to know what the people that were called. I'd love to hear their side of this.
I know. Well, I think a lot more, like it just came out this week about exactly what was happening in the house. And, you know, they're calling it like House of Horrors. Like even if you look at the house, it's like,
yeah.
Ugh. Poor. I keep saying kid because it's like
he was the kid.
I mean, he's
time.
like the size of a kid, literally, with how much he weighs.
The developmental.
I can't imagine.
He'd still be an adolescent, probably in developmental level.
Right, like basically, probably.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So sad. So I don't know if you guys had heard of that, or I'm sure we'll see more and more of that as more comes out and as they go to trial. And
this is something to definitely pay attention to. Those people are horrible.
I just, it's crazy. It's crazy. I hope someone can do that. Especially like just, I mean, to anyone, but like your own child or like I don't get it. Anyways, transitioning.
This episode is an emotional roller coaster for me right now.
Literally. Also, which I didn't want to like make this a whole, you know, segment of the episode, but did you hear about that girl too, a college student who went on vacation in Dominican Republic and she's missing?
No. Yeah. What is going on?
I know. It was you guys, college girl missing. What is that girl who went to Aruba and everyone, Natalie Holloway. It's giving Natalie Holloway vibes. Do you remember Natalie Holloway?
Nope.
It was another American girl who went missing in, I forget, it was Aruba in 2005. And it was the same thing. She went on like she was with college friends. They went out to a bar and she disappeared. And it was like all over the news. Like I just remember too, like it was like when I was in high school, to go to college, you know, so it was like I was kind of the same age. Yeah. But this girl, she's University of Pittsburgh, actually Pittsburgh peeps. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. She went to this Rue Republica, which also was getting so much shit. This hotel or resort called RIU Republica Hotel. It's like an all-inclusive hotel in Dominican Republic. A lot of college kids go there. Spring break just happened, so this is when it happened over spring break.
Okay.
But apparently, like all these TikToks, for some reason, was seeing all of these like videos of kids saying the food was horrible. Service was like they were literally serving like rice and beans, and that's it. Electricity apparently for several days would just go out for like hours in the middle of the day or in the middle of the night. They were having issues with water, like they couldn't get water in their hotel rooms, like the faucets wouldn't turn on. So many issues. Yeah, and then on top of it, this girl goes missing.
So let's go back. The Aruba girl was different, but this most recent girl is the one where they're having all these problems.
Yes, this recent
girl.
Why
did you say it's giving those vibes?
Because everyone's talking about it.
Okay.
And it just was one of those where it ended up, you know, being foul play.
Yeah.
Where right now, a lot of people are like, well, maybe because they have security camera of her going to the beach at like 4 a.m.
That's never a good idea.
Yeah. Obviously, they've been drinking. She's with a group of people, but kind of like hanging on to one guy. And of course, now that guy that she was hanging on to is being interviewed, and everyone's like, oh, he did it, he did it, he did it. But, who knows? He also says he was very drunk. They apparently were swimming in the ocean, and it was really like it was.
What all it takes is one rip tag.
Well, that's, and it's pitch black. So it's pitch black. It was getting really kind of dangerous to swim. So he apparently comes running in because he was getting sick and drinking so much ocean water. So he wanted to throw up.
Yeah.
And so apparently he was throwing up on the beach and he thought he saw her run away. And then he passed out. And when he woke up, once the sun was coming up, she was nowhere to be found.
Okay. Do they have her body or anything yet?
Nope.
So she's still totally
missing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awful. Her parents.
Right? What is happening? So anyways, just a crazy case. Everyone's been talking about it. I've seen it just a lot on TikTok too, especially because so many, spring breakers were down. It was a huge spring break, hundreds, thousands of kids go down there, especially to this resort. So it was like, all right, keep an eye out. If you guys are, out and about, keep an eye out for this girl. And so I've just been seeing people posting about it, but they still have not found her. And, it's just crazy, all the rumors and stuff you see online. But a lot of people are like thinking, well, maybe she did drown,
It could be. It could have been the guy.
But then a lot of people are like, could have been him. Could, someone have kidnapped her. And it was just the same kind of thing that happened with Nat.
Yeah.
That's why, it's just very similar
if you were
circumstances as the Natalie Holloway. It's just,
If you were going to Occam's razor this one, the most simple answer is usually correct. What would your gut tell you since you studied
ground? But it is,
Again, the only reason I would say you're right is the guy obviously drank enough seawater that he wanted to throw up too.
Yeah.
So she could have as well.
Yeah.
All it takes is a little too much.
Right.
You hit the wrong tide.
Right.
If he's he's a guy, let's just be way too gender specific. He's probably taller than she is.
He's a big guy.
Probably taller, probably more muscle.
Yeah.
It might have been a little easier for him to get away from something like that.
I know. And that's the thing is, you just hear these conflicting things of like, some people are like, well, the riptide doesn't really get that bad right there, like where, people can swim. And
I've been snorkeling all over, and you can hit those things out of nowhere.
Totally. So, who knows? Obviously, we'll hear more about this. Also, literally just happened like last week. So stay tuned. Crazy stuff happening in the world, you guys. I'm telling you, but hopefully, and then there's also this part's like maybe there's a chance that she is, it's just sad. She's probably gone.
Hopefully
but,
she's
maybe there's a chance that she stumble. I don't know.
What if best case scenario, which I would feel awful for her, what if best case scenario was that she got kidnapped but is alive?
I don't know, man. Depends who you got kidnapped by.
Well, that's what if it's people looking for ransom, finally something comes out.
You would have probably heard something by now.
Probably.
I don't know. It's sending all the prayers.
Yeah, holy cow.
Especially to her friend. And I was thinking too, if you were one of the friends
down there, you were on the beach with her.
Right.
Yeah.
They all some of them ended up coming back, and it's and then she wasn't even called in to be missing until 4 p.m. the next day. Because a lot of her friends, I'm guessing too, they were all probably blacked out. They were all probably doing drugs.
It's 4 in the morning.
It's 4 in the morning.
They don't wake up till noon or 1.
Right. Well, actually, they all went on they're supposed to do some sort of activity the next day. Yeah, some sort of, thing, excursion. And they just thought, oh, she was too hungover and just skipped it.
So.
But it's also if my friend wasn't texting or calling me, and they were saying they're going to go on this excursion.
If electricity's going out, you don't have Wi-Fi.
Well, that's the other thing too, is it's the Wi-Fi and the electricity was going out. So people's phones were dead. It's you add all of this. It literally is that's a scary movie.
It's there.
Someone was commenting on it. It was just so fucked up. But Netflix is licking their lips right now. It's one of those
I
you
think
know,
the guy in the attic would get more views.
a lot of fucking Netflix, like crazy shit happening.
Oh boy.
Crazy world.
Obviously, Netflix is causing all of this.
Obviously it's what if it was fucking Netflix? They needed more content.
He who sells
That's
the
like
cure
Black Mirror
sells the
shit.
problem.
Oh. James, did you just crack the case?
I fixed it.
Anyways, let's transition on. Let me just give you some fun facts as we come into St. Patrick's Day. And as the Irish woman that I am, the 20% Irish that I am, are you any Irish?
You know what? There was for a long time, we were told we were Irish, but I think one of my cousins did get it checked out.
Yeah.
And
You should do your ancestry.
I should, yeah. Mostly,
unless you're a murderer and you don't want them to have your DNA.
No, I'm fine with them having my DNA.
Are you sure?
Yeah, of course.
Sure. So he says.
I'm mostly German Norwegian. Apparently, we do have. I think on my grandfather's side, my mom's dad. I think we had a little Native American actually.
No shit.
That was something we didn't know for a really long time.
You really should get that done.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Would you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna get it.
Why would I not?
I don't know, because you're a murderer. You don't want your DNA in the system.
I have not been down to Aruba recently.
James, maybe he has, you guys. I wouldn't know. I don't know. You could. You're smart. You know, like you could. I don't know. Just kidding.
I can't even not cry mentioning our cat.
I know. Yeah, you couldn't hurt a fly. Some little fun facts about St. Patrick's Day. Some weird facts. Like I don't think you would know. First of all, do you know that St. Patrick, he was English. He wasn't Irish.
Why don't you ask me questions and
we'll see if you know. Okay, well, I can't say that one, but
wish you would have.
St. Patrick is thought to have been a Roman citizen in Britain who was enslaved and taken to Ireland. And then he was a patron. He became the patron saint, and he died on St. Patrick's Day. Interesting. Also, I mean, obviously he's become very Catholic too, which is funny. I feel like that's a kind of just a theme with all holidays is they like have become.
What have we talked about? Christmas. I mean, it's the Christmas is the simple one.
Well, yeah,
it's even well known in biblical circles.
Or like started in pagan, like it's always like tied back to our religion.
It's well known in biblical circles that Jesus was probably born in spring, yet they celebrate his birth over Christmas, which was really a pagan holiday around the winter solstice. Yes.
Yeah. Which we gotta make like some corned beef tomorrow or something. I was just thinking that. I was like, we gotta do like
I go pick up some corned beef.
Yeah,
it's
we get
a
some
long
corned beef.
process to
go
really
to
make it. Oh, yeah, let's go to Trips tomorrow. There we go.
Restaurant that has good food. Anyways, what is St. Patrick's Day celebrated for? Do you know what it was celebrated? Well, obviously St. Patrick, but do you know?
I think it was rescuing children.
Well, wait. Well, so it says it was imported to the U.S. by Irish immigrants, morphed into a show of Irish American pride and the celebration of Irish culture.
Oh.
Is what it really was supposed to be for. It also says it started. Do you know what year? What year do you think was? Or I mean, you can give me like a general time frame that it started.
I think it was what 1300s,
1631.
It was later.
1631. Also, the Shamrock. How do you feel like that connects to Catholicism and St. Patrick's Day? Any idea?
I don't know that one.
So they used to use oh my God, these stupid freaking ads, the Shamrock to show the connection of the Trinity of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit in one. And, an Irish botanist. That's another word. When I say botanist, I want to say botanist.
You nailed botanist.
I know, but I want to say botanist. Funny things I just like can't pronounce. He described the connection in 1726, and he also wrote and acknowledged that the shamrock was the emblem of the holiday and the country's national symbol. Have you ever found a 4-leaf clover?
No.
I've never found one, but they actually are. Another thing that they are real.
Absolutely, they're real.
They're just what's the word when they're not? When you
See, that would be a pagan four-leaf clover because they would have fire, earth, wind, water would be the four elements.
Right. They're a recessive trait. That's the word. I was
Oh,
recessive.
we're talking plant genetics.
Right. Yeah,
Got it.
that's what I was like. Well, I cannot recessive. It's a recessive trait to develop a fourth leaf. So that's why it's very rare. Funny enough, too, do you know how leprechauns came into the mix? Leprechauns are kind of scary.
No.
Leprechauns used to scare me. Well, they were the oldest written reference to leprechauns was a medieval story about three magical fairies and it was about the king of Ulster. Three magical fairies that end up kind of like Disney-fied these fairies and creatures and ended up turning them into this commercialized image of the leprechaun. Became more popular in the 19th century once cartoonists kind of picked it up and made it into like this more magical character. Also, have you ever seen the Chicago River turn green?
Yes.
Do you know why they do that or what that's for?
I mean, I don't know the background behind it, but
No.
I know they do it celebrating St. Patrick's Day.
They do it for St. Patrick's Day. So this is just kind of a fun fact. I know. I don't know why you would know
like
this.
These. Yeah, no.
But starting in 1955, city workers would use green dye to help identify the source of sewage in the river. So the inspiration to dye the entire river came after this business manager noticed a plumber's overalls were stained with bright green. And the tradition began in 1962 when the plumbers' local union dyed the river green with 100 pounds of dye, and now it continues.
They still do it. They did it this year.
Yep.
They already did it this weekend.
100 pounds of environmental friendly dye. It's hard to believe that's environmentally friendly. You know, it's kind of hard to believe. What makes it environmentally friendly?
Exactly.
Also, there's like kind of a thing about corned beef. Like that is very American. Like that's really not even an Irish thing at all, which is kind of funny. Anyways, couple of like little fun facts for you guys about St. Patrick's Day. Also, that it really wasn't a drinking holiday because it normally was a Catholic.
It's over Lent.
And over Lent, so you like really weren't supposed to drink on St. Patrick's Day, which is funny because now that's like it's really like what one it's of the known for.
Biggest ones of the drinking holidays of the year.
Yep. Fun facts. What do you know? Learn something new every time you listen. You got to give us that. You do learn something weird. All right, James, transitioning. Tell us how the world is ending or don't.
Can I sing my song?
Please.
It's the Science Corner. Hope you stay and play.
Hey.
It's the Science Corner. It can change your day. Science is fun questions made by you and me. Let's start the Science Corner with curiosity.
Curiosity.
And well, I have a lot of Science Corners locked and loaded, ready to go. Today's comes from Samantha Ramsdell because she wanted to talk about it.
She sounds so cool.
And I got to pull it up. So what we are looking at is the potential. So we've been very big in I think that you had told me, somebody commented about like, is this like a space science corner now? Because I know we talk a lot about that.
Well, it's just science, you guys.
And it was like, just relevant at the time because the planet parade.
We've been talking a lot about
there's a lot of important things, but now there's another cool geological thing going on. When I say cool, I mean that I hope that it happens in a way that doesn't harm anyone, because it is a natural part of the world. But Alaska's Mount Spur is getting closer to eruption as unrest escalates, volcanologists say. So volcano in Alaska may...
Yeah, are any of you Alaskans out there?
If there's anyone in Anchorage, this is about... if they were in Anchorage, they would absolutely know about this.
Yeah, I was going to say, you definitely...
Because it says it's only about 75 miles west of Anchorage, right? And so if wind blows west to east, that means that a lot of this is going to blow. If there's ash, it's going to cover Anchorage in it. So they've seen significantly elevated emissions of volcanic gas coming from Mount Spur, located in the Aleutian Arc in southern Alaska. Besides that, the ground deformations have newly activated gas vents. So there's these new gas vents popping up, meaning there's just more pressure.
So like, so like it's going to blow, right?
There's like, it's not a guaranteed, right? there's been 100, I think they said like 100 or hundreds of micro earthquakes. Like
Oh.
there have been, yeah. So all this stuff is saying that something underneath this volcano is going crazy. Sorry, go ahead. What were
I
you gonna
was
ask?
just gonna say, you know what's crazy is that like my therapist was going to Alaska.
Really?
Yeah, to Anchorage.
Oh boy, that's gonna be a tough spot to be in. Over the last
I wonder,
month,
like, if people can still go there. Like, can people still? I mean, I'm
yeah,
guessing
because they don't
because
know.
right, right,
Over the
right.
last month, more than 100 earthquakes per week have been occurring at the site.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Um, so
So, how far does it? Like, are we good? I mean, we're so far away. I mean, we're good. You, California, Washington, all you
I,
people over there.
if I remember correctly, this you can fact check me on. If the winds are right, right? If the
Yeah.
weather patterns pulls ash the right way, we could definitely see probably like a clouded sky and fallout from something like that.
Whoa,
Absolutely.
that's
I
crazy.
mean, there's dust from the Sahara and Africa that makes it here, right?
Well, and
So
like I'll never forget when we got those fires from like fucking Canada. The
remember, it made our air quality that bad.
pitch black.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was crazy.
That's how this stuff works. And this n- never ever would I take away from the horrifying effects that people get from forest fires, and especially what people in California have gone through.
Yeah.
But if a volcano erupts, it's a lot more energy than that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot more fallout from something like that.
Great. Great.
Eruptions did occur in 1953 and 1992. So if you do the
Yeah, I was
math
gonna
on that,
right, right.
it's right around that time.
Damn, it happened in 1992 was the last one?
August 92. You know what's funny is that is the one I think that I was in obviously Wisconsin at the time, right? I was
Yeah.
7th, 8th grade. I think that one, we could see ash from it in Wisconsin. Like you would
Really?
have, yeah, part of the sky, something like that. Yeah. Similar, not
Whoa.
quite as bad as what we saw with the smoke coming in, right?
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
this has a lot to do with the wind and weather patterns and where this stuff is going to go. But if this
Freaky.
thing erupts big, that's a lot of stuff into our atmosphere that goes.
Yeah, yeah,
Again,
yeah.
hence why I always talk about super volcanoes. Because if you just multiply this little tiny volcano, this is a small volcano. But if you multiply that times a lot, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's funny. This also just got a
Go ahead.
flashback of the show Paradise that we've been obsessed with on Hulu.
Yes.
And that was like their version of like I
The
don't want to
super
give away.
volcano in
It was like
Antarctica.
it was a super volcano in Antarctica, and just how much it set off because then it sets off tsunamis, and then which sets off flooding,
Changes
which
everything, yeah.
it's like what it's like a volcano in Antarctica. A lot of people are like it's not gonna get to me.
The
But
August 1992 eruption
great show too, by the way. Sorry,
caused a great show. The August 92 eruption caused the Anchorage airport to be closed for 20 hours due to wind and ash event that accompanied the eruption.
Damn.
Yep. Okay. The alert level was a yellow. I'm sorry. Now I'm reading more. The other stuff I had, but there's one part towards the end that I forgot to write down in my notes here.
But it's like, it's like weeks out. Like, and it is gonna happen. It's crazy. Crazy. I don't know what it is. I feel like because I've never seen one, it's like volcanoes to me like aren't real. Like, I feel like it's a scary movie. Like it's like a made up thing.
And they're very real.
Well, there was like that one scary movie. I think I've honestly talked about it on here before about a volcano, Mount St. Helen or something like that.
Well, that's a real volcano.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like
It's like the most
it was like
famous
based
volcano.
off what? Oh my god. If you've seen it, Volcano movie. When did it come out?
Which one? Joe Volcano with Tom Hanks?
No.
Kind of a cute movie.
All I remember is the grandma went into the pond and the pond had acid in it and her legs fell off. Dante's Peak. Oh my god, Dante's Peak.
Dante's Peak. Oh Jesus.
That fucking scarred me for life. If you know that scene, you know that scene. It was horrible. I will never forgive my mom for like not telling me that was going to happen.
So here's what to tell your therapist
1997
about what's happening. As they're continuing to monitor the seismic activity and gas emissions, which have already kind of peaked, the next level of warning would be if there's a detection of what they term a volcanic tremor. That's continuous shaking that can last for several minutes rather than short, small earthquakes. That would prompt the warning level to change. So, yeah, this is
Damn.
something that anyone traveling to near or lives in
Alaska should know.
Alaska, you should probably know about this.
Spooky. That's what, we deal with some snow once in a while. And we have 4 seasons, But thank God that we do not have to deal with volcanoes, tornadoes, earthquakes, really.
There's been a hurricane here before.
Hurricanes, but like that's nothing compared to like a volcano. Not nothing, but you know what I mean? Like, especially like where we are, like we're not close enough to the ocean.
We had this discussion in my family when we were kids about what would like, because we had some relatives that lived on the coast. I had an uncle in San Diego.
Yeah.
And they did have a hurricane down there.
Yeah.
Right. Which doesn't happen very often. But they had like a warning. And then the conversation came up because I have cousins in Missouri. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, have you seen that they've just gotten pummeled?
That whole,
holy shit.
I think they were a little further from some of that.
That's good.
I think from whatever.
I was just seeing stuff about that.
I should check in with mom on that.
Yeah, they just got a ton of tornadoes.
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
What would you rather be involved in, like a hurricane or a tornado? Well, there's a hurricane overall is way more like a hurricane that hits shore is more powerful and typically causes more damage than a single tornado. Yeah. But there's usually way more warning. There's way more time.
Well, that's the thing. If you're following
tornado,
it's authorities are telling you,
as scary as the movie Twister or Twisters, but it's true. You don't get a whole lot of time still, right? You just got to know if conditions are right and decide how vigilant you want to be about it.
Yeah.
Do you want to go down in the basement earlier or later? Yeah. Right, with a volcano potentially. Find out how big it's going to be.
Well, that's the thing. That's why it's like so scary. Is that and of course you always from the movies and everything. It's very last minute all of a sudden, or no one believes and they don't, so the news doesn't report
that's
it.
That's the thing that's going to happen. This thing could change in a couple of days.
Right. All of a sudden, right. It could be like, oh, it's going to blow.
And
now.
Have you made plans? Have you thought about it? Right.
Scary. Spooky. That's real spooky stuff. Anyways, that's just what's going on in the world. That's all the weird stuff.
We got to start having a positive corner too. Like we got to have weird. We got to keep the proud side.
The weird science.
This one was very
well. We always end with weird secrets, which
let's pick people's spirits
always
back
positive.
Up.
I feel like
bring
that's
secrets
why I
back
like
up.
to end with
today
secrets.
Was very down.
Well, it's just how the world's going,
Maybe that's the mood we were in from Kiara News.
I know. Yeah, right after we're
sorry that we brought all that to your life. Sorry.
But I have gotten a lot of people who've said, it's nice that we're talking about it because again, everyone's gonna have to go through. Like, you guys are all pet lovers. Like, I know so many of you guys have pets. Or death in general. You're gonna have to go through it at some point. It's one of those. It unfortunately is an inevitable thing, and so I think it has been good, for some people that we haven't been talking about.
I didn't even think about that. That's good to hear.
And yeah, if anyone did had questions on, I don't know how much people really care.
And if any guys are wondering, is it okay to cry? I don't really care. I do. I've been bawling my eyes out.
Of course, James. All right, you guys, let's lighten things up. Let's bring it back.
Thank you. Let's end on a high note.
It is time for Weird Secrets. I need my song. My God, it's so rusty.
What is going on?
Secret. It's time for Secrets, where we listen to your weird voicemails. Well, your voicemails about your weird secrets. Whether it's, again, we throw out prompts we've thrown out right before, the death, Kiara's death. But we had thrown out things you maybe sent to someone by accident, weird things you've opened that weren't yours to open. We were given like some Walmart people who worked at like the photo center. What else do we have? We had a couple things, but also, anything in general, anything that's weird. You have a weird story, something embarrassing that's happened to you. We'd thrown out like some weird travel. weird travel stories. If you have something weird, call us in at
SpeakPipe.
That's speakpipe.com/weird and proud pod. Again, speakpipe.com/weird and proud pod. You can leave up to, I think it's now 2 minutes now. Hell yeah. Of an anonymous voicemail, whether, again, something weird that's happened to you, a weird thing you do. It's a judgment-free zone. We never yuck anyone's yum. Call us up. Let us know what's going on. We have some good ones this week. Obviously, again, too, we're in a little bit of a backlog, so I apologize as we make our way through these.
Keep leaving those. We'll need them someday.
But it's funny. As I say 2 minutes, actually, that's wrong. I think it's now it's got to be up to 5 minutes because some people have been leaving very long voicemails, which we absolutely love, but it just might be too long. Like when it's going past 2 minutes, we're starting to, start to lose the steam. So if you have sent in a voicemail that's been over 2 minutes, maybe just call back in and just try and see if we can get it under 2 minutes. I know it's tough. Trust me, I'm a yapper. But sometimes they're just a little too long. So with that being said, James, are you ready for our first?
I can't wait.
Weird secret. All right, here we go.
Hey, Sam and James. Hope you guys are still accepting weird stories on jobs because I definitely have one for you. I work for a state agency and we license and regulate nursing homes. And let's just say the elderly population are wild, absolutely unhinged. So we have to ensure regulation that all these nursing homes in our state are compliant with the regulation, but sometimes the residents that reside in these homes could not care less about our regulation. They just sometimes want to get wild. My favorite are the ones that have no choice, end up in a nursing home, but they still have sexual feelings. And we have to let them express that. But there's a gray area with that. So I have to advocate a lot for letting our geriatric population get freaky. And it's kind of fun sometimes not. But yeah, there's that. Love you guys.
That is
You're a saint. I'm just gonna say that off. I'm just gonna say that.
That was also something we've thrown out. Is
you're a saint.
Interesting job. Weird job. That's a weird job.
Good for you. These people have lived great lives.
Totally. That's honestly, let them go.
No.
Let them get freaky. There was this whole thing that had come out a couple years ago about a nursing home in Florida that you had golf carts and you could put a different flag on your golf cart if you were down to swing or if you were down to have threesomes or
there's some of these they have to be careful about STDs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember that was a whole thing too. Is they had STD breakouts because
I
they're not on birth control. Obviously,
absolutely something we should be. That she seems so cool about it, and I am not here to say I have any ability to make the choices of what people should or should not be doing. Right. But if I were to give my opinion, let them freak.
Let them freak. There's no harm in that.
No.
At that age, it's good for you.
They're playing their bingo. They've got all the other things to do. If that gets to be the highlight of their day, hell yeah.
That too. And I think we should just let old people do drugs, whatever drug they want.
After a certain age?
Yeah. After 80, if you want to do crack, go for it.
You can't be president past 70, but you can do anything else you want in life.
I think we should let them do crack. Whatever drugs they want, go for it. They've lived long enough to know what's, you want to do heroin?
We should
fine.
Get her on the phone again and see what would some of the fallout of here's some ideas we have for you. Could you present these to your board?
I love it. I love whenever I'm like at the dispensary and I see like a 75-year-old man or woman in
Hell
there.
yeah.
I'm like, my future is bright. I
Yep.
see my future.
I think some of
bright.
another one that always sticks with me, because we always make fun of ourselves on vacation because we always go do stuff early. Remember when we were in Savannah and we went in Savannah, Georgia, and we were staying at this place
It's
and
like
they had like a wine,
an actual bed and breakfast.
We were staying at an actual bed and breakfast, and it was
so cute.
gorgeous. And there had a wine happy hour.
Yeah.
And it was like
4 to 5.
4 to 5. And we went down there. And
the
there was
by
no
30
one
years.
nobody under 65. And it was awesome. It was fantastic because these people were sligging back wine, just having a time.
As I get older, you know, of course, I have more and more respect. It's like,
I loved it.
Yeah. It's amazing. I love that. That is so
great
beautiful.
Call.
And if anyone has any other nursing home stories,
we needed that call today.
We needed that.
That was the call that we need. That was the call that was needed
healing.
here.
That was healing. All right, James, are you ready for our next voicemail?
Prepared.
All right, here we go.
Hi, Sam and James. Calling from New Hampshire. Love you guys. This is in response to a time that someone sent something to the wrong group or they weren't supposed to. Kind of similar. My husband, so we have a group chat with my family, my immediate family, my parents, aunts, uncles. My husband's in the chat as well. It's just a pretty large group chat. And my husband sent a picture one day, and the picture he sent, he opened up his photo roll, and took a screenshot of the picture he wanted to send to the group chat, unrealizing that when you're in your photo roll at the bottom are mini pictures of other pictures, not your photo, your camera roll, mini pictures of other photos in your camera roll, and those other most recent photos being very, very risque photos of myself. So he sent the screenshot to the group of the screenshot that he took with all the mini photos down below. Spread eagle. Everybody could see everything. It was lovely. Fortunately, I have a family with a good sense of humor, but still very uncomfortable.
That is, I love, because it's everyone's done it. Like we've talked about, like it's in some regard, some way, shape, or form. We've all sent something we probably shouldn't to the wrong.
She's right. No matter how open and funny her family is, and they seem really cool, just the way she was talking, that's still going to be
seeing a risque photo of you,
especially from the guy's perspective.
Yeah. Like if you did that, like to my family,
yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking about. I was because I'm on with your
because we have a group.
I'm on all those group chats.
I know,
and that's why I tread very, very softly.
I know,
even though your family's cool and like they get jokes, I still am very careful about what I bring up.
I know it's one of those things where like until you do it, then you know you will like after that never forget to triple check.
He's gonna be He's going to have he's going to send it off to
triple checking
somewhere
everything
to get edited before he sends anything out.
Exactly. But amazing. I love any of those stories will always be funny to me.
The wrong text message things. It's just such a new problem.
Right.
Like back in the day, you didn't accidentally send the love letter to the wrong address.
Well, or it was an email.
Yeah. Or,
right?
It could be an email, but
you always like reply all, like how many scenarios, like
but
again,
with
you hit
technology, we're sending stuff so fast. Because I can picture he probably was like, maybe he was even like in his car and trying to do it fast just to respond. And he
then all of a sudden you're
think. Then and then that happens.
And then that happens. Love it. Thank you for an amazing voicemail. Now we have one more that was cracking me up. Are you ready, James?
Prepared.
Here we go.
Hey, Sam and James. So when I was a kid, my dad convinced me that it was okay to poop in the ocean if you had to. He explained it like, the ocean cleans itself and one little human turd isn't going to do any harm, yada, 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 whatever. So I always believed in that, but I never really did it until a couple months ago. I was with my guy at the beach having a great time, and out of nowhere I get the urge to poop. So I swam probably like 100 feet away from him. I was really far away, and I just like, you know, quietly and inconspicuously pulled my bathing suit down and pooped in the ocean. Swam away from it and thought I was all done, called it a day. He had no idea. And then later, when we got home, we were taking a shower together, and lo and behold, I had a turd stuck between my ass cheeks. And when we were showering, it kind of just fell out on the shower floor. And I was looking at him so fucking embarrassed. He was like, "Oh my God, did you just shit?" I'm like, no, that's seaweed. That's just seaweed. That's not shit. I had seaweed between my ass cheeks. Anyways, he knew it was shit. Come on. He's not an idiot, but yeah. Be careful when you shit in the ocean, guys.
So funny.
That's amazing. I'm in shock just trying to
how you kept a small turd in between your ass cheeks that whole time is impressive.
But like,
must have been like half in, like a little hedgehog.
And I'm also like, I love just thinking from her dad's perspective. Did her dad just like to poop in the ocean and needed to make sure it was okay? Like, was he just her dad? It needed to justify.
And how often are you in a circumstance you're like, I'm gonna shit in the ocean?
And look, there's a lot of things that I do, and I'm going to use this term adult. And I think you're awesome, and I love hearing about you and your husband's relationship. It sounds amazing. But wouldn't at a certain point you would even question your parents in that, like, pooping in the ocean, a public area is okay? If I'm in like a castaway scenario, I'll
you're
poop
like,
in the ocean. But if I'm in a public swimming, I don't pee in a pool. I'll pee in the ocean.
Yeah,
that I'll do.
Yeah.
But I'm not peeing in a pool, and I'm not pooping in the ocean.
Well, now that I know so many other of you freaks are peeing in the pool, now I'm going to start.
I don't want to. I don't want to add to it. No, I don't want to add to it. No, I'm not succumbing to that. I like to swim.
I know, James.
But that story,
everyone's gonna ruin it.
And the most important part is the cute, tender moment when a little turd comes out of your butt and you're in the shower.
It's beautiful.
Like, that's just that's how relationships really survive.
But yeah, that's how you know.
That's really the only thing.
Yep.
If it isn't something like that, like, it can't be roses on holidays. It can't be that. No.
What happens if you can survive, falls out of your ass?
That is when you know.
I love it. That was amazing.
Were epic today.
I know, secrets were great. Well, I know we have such a backlog, but still send in more. Still, if any of these, again, inspired you, it doesn't have to be with any of these themes. If you have something new, a travel story,
Sam gets a
ton
of them.
St. Patrick's Day story.
Here, I sometimes try to come up with something. St. Patrick's Day for sure. Good St. Patrick's Day stories. I'm just going to throw this one out there. If you haven't heard yours, just call back in. Yeah. Sam gets so many of these. They can get backlog. We've all missed that text message or email.
Yeah, or
you have to think about that. Call back in. Yeah. Represent it. It's nothing that was missed on purpose. But
or it might have been like the sound might have been hard, or like, sometimes there's just too much going on in the background. Or again, now they're
they're anonymous, so it's not like she can reach back out to you and say, "Hey, I really wanted to use this."
Right. There's been a couple too. There was one where someone was telling a story, and then something about a dream, and then I think it was something about a dream. I don't even know. It was like literally within 5 seconds. It was almost like your husband or your partner like picked up the phone, like I got connected in the car, or like, it was almost like someone picked up the phone. So if you haven't heard it in a while,
if you've got one,
call back in.
That's what I'm gunning for. Call back in. I think there's some great ones out there that because of technology issues or whatever, they might have got missed.
Yeah. But anyways, call in to speakpipe.com/weird and proud pod. Again, speakpipe.com/weird and proud pod. I'll put it also in the description. It'll also be in our bio on our Instagram, Weird and Proud Pod on Instagram. Make sure you're following along. And I think that's it. I think that's it.
Love you, weirdlings.
We love you so much. We are back. Thank you for being so patient with all the craziness. And thank you all the support. We've gotten a lot of nice messages too about, Kiara and everything going on. So
we'll try and make sure to find at least one somewhat weird and positive
we'll
story
try to make,
next week.
Yeah. But we can't promise. It's just, it is what it is. We love you guys so much. Have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.